The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Yo, what's up, world? This is Akilah Roten Jr. representing Young Voices Making Choices, and we are here at our first Black History Month segment of the entire year. Amen. Can we get a hand applause? We ready? You ready? Yeah. So this is our first Black History segment. I'm representing Young Voices Making Choices. I am your host, Akilah Roten Jr. I have my co-host to my left, my boy, author, songwriter, visionary, fashion designer, Zach Jones. Give it up to Zach Jones.
Hey, what's up, people?
And to my right, we have my good friend, Professor Antoine Michael Simpkins. He is a professor at the Los Angeles City College District. He's also a PhD student and lecturer at UCLA College, and he is an intellect of Black urban ethnic studies. He got a lot of stuff going on. This is my guy, man. He's a really good friend of mine. Show some love.
Thank you.
To my left, man, it's been so many years since I worked with my brother. Yes, to my left, we have L.A. Compton, you know, that's how we roll. Absolutely. Compton's very own Minister Riza Islam. He is the youth representative of the Nation of Islam to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. He is also a humanitarian, an activist, and he's an upcoming author. You got a book coming out.
Sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
And if he's gone viral just recently with Nick Cannon, so it is a pleasure to have him here with us, brother. With Young Voices Making Choices, man. So we're going to dive right into this thing, man. So you guys know it's Black History Month. And it's a lot going on. It's been a very, very long and busy month for us.
Absolutely.
Historically, financially. And it's been a lot of controversy. But before we get to all that, man, we just want to just pose some really, really serious questions, man, about the history of Black History Month. We also know that Black History Week was created by Carter G. Woodson in 1926, recognizing the contributions of African Americans to establish the United States. In 1976, February was established as Honorary Black History Month. So our forefathers, inventors, writers, lecturers, teachers, activists, businessmen, they are our Black ancestors within the last 100 years. We don't have to go back too far. And how would you feel, I'm posing a question to our guest, how would you equate the contributions made in the last 21st century of African Americans with our forefathers? How do you think they've paved the way for us in the last 100 years?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
I add to a piece to that, definitely. So go ahead, my brother, and I'll jump right after that.
This yours.
This is my area. Yeah, this is where all the degrees should show up, right? So in terms of the contributions that have been made recently, in terms of within the 21st century, I think that Black folks have built upon what is there more specifically, even though this is a controversial name right now, but who's most immediately coming to mind for me right now is Kanye West and what he's been able to do musically. Now we can talk about the different controversial areas, of course.
Right.
But just in terms of like his musical interventions, what he's been able to do with sonic and sound, we can keep going forward in fashion and design. Your area with Ruth Carter, who just won tonight. Shout out to her.
Shout out to Ruth Carter.
For her designs with Black Panther. So I think that we are still there. We are still producing the culture, producing the history, doing everything that needs to be done. If we're talking about socially, we can look at Ferguson. That was a moment of devastation, but that was also a moment of Black genius.
Okay.
Right? We can look at Black Lives Matter, Alicia Garza, Opal Tometi, and the other young lady whose name I'm forgetting. But just those moments are still saying that Black people are still here making valuable contributions to society, and definitely in defense of ourselves.
Okay.
Right? So, we're still here, we're still doing it, and we are expanding upon the Black history. History is now. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you could expand on what he was saying.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I can say, well, as far as the last 21st century, I'd say number one, with the over 60 all-black towns in America right after the Reconstruction between 1865 1877.
For sure.
That was the major pivotal point where we went back to school, we became senators, we became mayors, we became lawyers, doctors, etc., and we regained all of the not only knowledge from the inventions that we were making, even though most of them were stolen, we didn't know about them. We had to regain what it was that we were inventing, what it was that we were taking credit for entirely as a people. We had to go back to not only inventing these cities, but also the agriculture. We were able to bring back our ability to not only crop, but have farming, planting seeds, etc. We went back into the trades and business deals that we lost before when we were under slavery. We went back into resurrecting our own real estate investments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We literally, and most people don't even know about this when I said over 60 all-black towns, because most people just hear about Black Wall Street.
Right.
That's one.
Yeah.
Right.
One out of over 60. So when you start hearing about all of these other areas, the Patterson Car Company, when you hear about Central Avenue right out here in Los Angeles, when you hear about all this, the Black history was extremely large, and not only the turning point for us as a people, but this as an American nation. Okay, so we actually created the entire system of what you would call economics, what you would call agriculture, et cetera, in America. It was because of us. And so our contribution contributed to everyone else who now benefits off of it more than we do, but now we are taking our place, and we're really regaining what it is that rightfully belongs to us.
Okay. But you, Zach?
Pardon me?
You being from Jamaica.
Yeah.
Being directly from the island and now coming over here transition. How do you feel, man, with the innovations that even coming from the island, which you guys have done and brought to America, to Black America, we should say, and also us taking it back over there?
I mean, I think it's very, very important that we look at all Black history. As you said, I'm from Jamaica. I feel like Black history, like all of us are brothers. Whether it is that we're from California, whether we from Africa, whether we from Jamaica. And, I could go into like Native Americans being, Black and like how that played out. But I mean, I feel like Black history is Black history in one, and so, with people like Marcus Garvey was born in Jamaica.
Come on, brother.
What I'm talking about. Marcus Garvey was born in Jamaica. But the impact that he had over here, you know what I'm saying? And even like people like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and the impact that they had over in Jamaica, even like you're looking at the Haitian Revolution. Let's go to Haiti. Look at the Haitian Revolution. Look at the impact that had on, ending slavery in the Caribbean as we know it. So I feel like Black History Month is very important from a world perspective, not just from a U.S. perspective, you know what I'm saying? And as I say, I'm just glad to be here, glad to be a part of it, and that we could have this discussion and we could talk about it. So, yeah.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I like this expanding into like this international frame. I think it's like very helpful, particularly like in remembering Marcus Garvey, right? Because really, like the essence of Marcus Garvey is that like he is a threat to like the U.S. empire, right? So literally, like let's throw him in a jail somewhere in Atlanta because he's upsetting the scene, which puts me in the mind frame of Black undocumented folk who are still presenting like this situation like to the U.S. like we are here, right? And this is an international thing, right? So like the Black folk in the U.S., Black folks who are in Israel, right? Who Israel really doesn't care about, right? There's something about that conversation, that dialogue that's happening there where Black folks, and this is the one thing like I don't want us to forget, the resistance that Black folks are putting up, right? In terms of the government is having to work this hard because there is a collective resistance, whether it's in the streets of, Venezuela, Venezuela right now, whether it's in the streets of Ferguson, whether we're in Jamaica, whether we're in Israel, like this is the historical moment. And I think we are building upon something that our ancestors have already set out that presents a challenge to Western European powers that says, this is it. Yeah. Like, how long are we going to wait, right? Yeah. I'll stop there so we can have this conversation.
Oh, yeah. So I got another question for you guys, right? What do you think about the United States support of Black History Month?
Can I go?
They support? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was support. Yeah. I thought that they give you a few leaders, you know, as a kid growing up in grade school. Yeah. Hey, we're going to talk about Martin Luther King. We're going to talk about, you know, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman. But I didn't learn about Black Wall Street until I was like 17. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I didn't learn about these great people that made everything. I'm like, man, my air conditioned refrigerator, the elevator. I'm like, where was all this in the second and third grade? Yeah. But they always skip over, like we bring up Tulsa, Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I'm like, y'all did that. Mm-hmm. And y'all just so happened to not tell us anything about that, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think I never knew they supported us. I never knew that, you know, look at Black History Month now. Everything happens in our month. Literally everything that can distract you in our month, you know, financially distract you, mentally distract you. We have Super Bowl, which is the number one watch thing in the entire world for what, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Then right after that, now All-Star Weekend. You know, and even though All-Star Weekend is driven by mostly African-American men, but still, you get what I'm saying? It's always going against that. Then after that, here come the Grammys. Then after that, here come the Oscars. And I think 2019 Black History Month, man, I'm tired, y'all. I just like, can we just go to March already? Like, let's talk about the Black Irish. Let's get to the Black people in Ireland, man. I never knew they supported us because look how much distraction they want to put in. And shout out to all the Oscar winners tonight that are, you know, making history.
Come on, Spike Lee.
Spike Lee.
He won. Come on, Morehouse, we in here.
Spike Lee won. Mahershala Ali won his second. Regina King won. So we're still spreading like locusts. We're still taking over what they don't think that we can take over. From even a simple shout out to Jesse Jones, the filet guy. I love him so much because this kid took one little street slang word and now he's a millionaire and has millions of followers off making people laugh. He's ESPN, NBA. So I'm looking at the new revolution of like Black industrial architecture going through the social media way. That these guys are like taking social media and getting rich and getting famous and taking it by storm. Like every famous funny person I know on social media are Black, and I'm up at 3:00 in the morning laughing because I'm just so excited to see that. But I never thought they really supported us in this month. Period. Really, when have they ever? And when are they going to ever admit to what they have? I've never known them to apologize for Tulsa. And it's really their fault. Like, you can't even say that it was, no, y'all did this. Just say it. Like, yeah, we did this. You know, so.
Well, I'm just listening to everything that everyone's saying. And the beauty of Black History Month is that they allow you to celebrate, but they don't support.
Come on through.
So they give you that ability to celebrate. And they think you being allowed to celebrate without being hung or shot for a day, week, or month means that we support you. No, we support your ability to become stuck in a daze of looking at history, not your current, so that you do not know how to take over in the present. So therefore, we'll let you celebrate, because as we're celebrating, hey, look at the past, look at the past, look at the past, not let's look at the past so that we can look at the steps that were successful, so that we can duplicate it in our present, so that we can change our future. That's not what they want us to do. The other thing is, yes, they did apologize in a small percentage when it came to Tulsa by giving the last survivors, I believe, a few bronze medals. Okay. Now, a lot of people didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
A lot of people,
when was this?
They were literally taking buses up there, the survivors who were very, very old. They were in their 80s and 90s, and I believe one or two of them was 100 years old or maybe a little older than that. And they went to the Supreme Court. They were going to Washington, D.C. on dialysis over in the hospital, some of them who had oxygen tanks just to make it there, and they closed the doors physically on them. And one of the representatives came out and gave them medals that said, "To the survivors of the Tulsa riots. Thank you."
Bronze, huh?
Yeah.
I've never read that.
That was the apology. So therefore, when it comes to that, so I just want to just to on that point, because the level of insulting audacity that they have as it pertains to looking at what occurred by them towards us is staggering. And during March, The reason why they put it in March, one, it's the shortest, not March, pardon me, February, the shortest month of the year. And two, it's right around the time dealing with taxes so that they can push all of their businesses and their corporate America dollars back into the black. So therefore, we spend more money, like you said, the Oscars, the Grammys, the Super Bowl, Valentine's Day, all of these businesses, celebrity holidays. We put more money back into the economy so that the corporation called America can go back into the black, and they will have enough money to survive throughout the rest of the year.
So that Frederick Douglass birthday thing was a lie.
Oh, yeah. No, they use it so that they can pimp black folks using our emotions. Again, that's how they operate. Marcus Garvey, they allow us to talk about him a little bit because he's no longer alive. But he was a threat because, as you said, he wasn't their nigga. That's one. Right. I know we might be on Facebook Live. I don't want to get too raw, but let's just be very clear. He wasn't their man. So that's why they kicked him out. But they do not talk about him all the time. They do not talk about the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was a Garveyite, and then he elevated it and continued the work. And they don't talk about most of those who were rebels. They can't, because why? That would reinvigorate, reestablish, and resurrect that warrior revolutionary spirit within us today and our children tomorrow. So they don't want any of that. They just want you to learn about the "We shall overcome Negroes." Martin Luther King, even though they don't teach you about the last 2 years of his life when he became a revolutionary. When he talked about boycotting Coca-Cola, seal test bread, where he talked about fighting against the war in Vietnam and saying, listen, I'm not going to do this. Why don't you give us our land, et cetera, et cetera. They don't want you to know that you are more than just a Negro.
That's right.
And that you can actually create, and that you can invent, and that you are an intelligent, procreative type of individual. You're not simply a thug, a gangster, somebody who just, impregnates women and leaves them and does things like that. You're actually someone who can do something constructive for your people. So I just wanted to lay all that out so we can know February is far more, but February is just the anniversary of Black History, which is all 365 1/4 days of the year.
Yeah, so I was going to mention that. I mean, like, looking at Black History at first, as I said, coming from Jamaica and coming to the U.S. and having Black History Month, I kind of find it weird because for me, it's kind of like, isn't Black History every day of the year?
Every day.
And on top of what we were saying about, like, culture, you were speaking about culture, like, everything, all culture, you know what I'm saying, comes from black people. We talking about white rappers, we talking about, you know what I'm saying, celebrities,
all black,
we talking about
everything.
Ariana Grande's last song, that song just like Soulja Boy, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about everything. Everything come from black people. Inventions, we talk about that already. You know what I'm saying?
Over 20,000 of them.
Over 20,000. And even just, as you said, you just mentioned, they don't really let us talk about these people while they're here. We talk about them where they're dead. They don't have no saying it. You know what I'm saying? And they only give us, like, the surface level. They don't give us the deep facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not until recently I really learned about MLK's switch, last 2 years. And so
he wasn't always nonviolent.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what the media push,
Absolutely.
Oh, this nonviolent. No, you don't have to resort to violence. And I'm not saying we do, but I'm saying that, like Malcolm X said, if it comes to that, then it comes to that. Also, what I wanted to say was that as it relates to Black History and Black History Month, what do you think about what I just said? Do you think it's necessary to have a Black History Month? That only puts Black History in 1 month of the year.
Well, it's only necessary because that is also another time of the year where they program the people and they also manipulate the data to push lies on this group of people. They literally put a month for us to, one, they made us believe that it is a form of reparation. That's one. Two, they actually decided to put that month there and manipulate and control the data being fed to the people every year. Now, if you look at it, it changes almost every year. The Smithsonian, the museum over in Washington, D.C., they spent billions on that museum. The majority of it is not true. And it starts in slavery. It doesn't go beyond that. It doesn't go before that. It starts in slavery. A part of it is Michael Jordan's shoe as a part of history. I'm like, hold on. Hey, listen, wait a minute. Hold on. You spent billions of dollars on this thing and you didn't tell my people that we were anything other than slaves first?
Exactly.
See, when you do that, you are literally programming not only the people who are black, but that museum is being visited by tens of thousands of people from all over the world every week.
That's
so then people from outside of the country come here to learn about black people, and all they see is a damn basketball, some fried chicken, and literally when you end and go out of the museum, it's a cafe with some fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, and collard greens. No, hey, listen,
macaroni and greens,
brother.
That's crazy.
brother.
That's crazy.
Y'all lying.
Hey, listen.
No, it's very true.
It is
Go
crazy,
freeze.
It's
Nah, I ain't
very
going.
true.
So it tells me. So what I'm saying
That's
is,
crazy.
we don't have to have a month. We simply have to have truth being pushed the entire year, and we should not apologize for learning the truth, pushing the truth, and this government should not be so sensitive anymore about allowing us to know the truth. That's why they push it here, but it's like, no. Everybody else learns about the history every day. The Jewish community, they learn about it every day. The Mexican community, every day. Latin community, every day. They all learn about the history every day. But we need to do the same and stop putting it to 1 month and then the rest of the year learn about everybody else's history.
Exactly.
I will say this. First of all, I have to go back to the 21st century thing. I completely forgot about Soulja Boy. We need to give Soulja Boy his props, right? Like, Soulja Boy is like literally
Biggest
responsible for like what it means to advertise a hip hop artist in the 21st century, right? Soulja Boy is the originator of like YouTube, like putting his stuff out there. Like, he originated that,
MySpace,
right?
yeah.
So he might be in a certain place right now, but the brother deserves his props, and we have not given him his due props. I do think it's interesting, like your question about, does the U.S. support Black History Month, right? Because what that elicits is this question of what does support look like. And when you were saying some things, and I was thinking about the sanitation of U.S. history, particularly Rosa Parks, whose parents were Garveyites, right?
Come on,
if you read At the Dark End of the Street by Danielle McGuire, we learn about this, right? In terms of, if we want to go back to what happened before slavery, They Came Before Columbus by Ivan Van Sertima. Is a wonderful book. But support, my point in using books is support means putting us in the books, right?
That's it.
And so, as someone who teaches, right, this every day, and I only teach in like ethnic studies, African American studies for a very specific reason, right? But we are being written out of textbooks,
Correct.
right? This whole slavery moment that actually happened, those who were enslaved, right? Which is different from slaves, because we were not slaves, we were enslaved. Those are two different things. But Texas is now presenting that, and this is where most of the U.S. textbooks come from, Texas, are now presenting these folks as laborers, right? Voluntary laborers.
Involuntary immigrants.
Yes.
I read that.
So the question becomes, what does support look like? So it's one of those things that we have to have a conversation of, are we pleased with aesthetics, right? Do we want to just give Black people like what looks good and feels good, right? Or do we really want to get down to it, right? And when I speak about like getting down to it, shout out to people like Cardi B and Jay-Z, who told the Super Bowl, no, we're not coming. Now, we can talk about the brother who got on the stage anyway, but shout out to them who said that we don't want this symbolic form of power, not in this month. That if you're going to do us wrong, you're going to do us wrong through Colin Kaepernick, right? And I'll just say this while I'm here, that even if Colin Kaepernick gets his job back, that's still not justice.
No, it's not.
That's
Right? And we have to be like clear about that. And also at the same time that giving us Obama is not justice either. And we can talk about that later within this, because I'm not an Obama fan at all.
The bomber jacket.
We're about to get into that.
But like,
Wasn't even
understanding what all of that means and what all of that does through Black History Month is important to me. But also, and shout out to the elders in the community that trust the young people with this moment that we are living in, to say that we trust you to run this, to guide this, to do its thing, to say that yes, we can trust a 26-year-old named Cardi B, right, who has her music career, but who is very socially conscious and who will jump on Instagram and say, listen, I don't know nothing about it, but y'all need to fix that. Send out the cues and say, let's get in the streets and make it happen. That's where the Black History Month is. We're not going to get it in the books, unfortunately. So we have to, the revolution will not be televised. So, we're going to get out in the streets and make it happen. Shout out to Gil Scott-Heron.
Okay. So here's the next segment. This is going. Y'all ready? Okay, look. All these people we're naming. Now we have a different level of what my dear friend Tariq, now she always says cooning. That's his word. And it's so funny. I'm like, man, he put the trains up so fast, man. But do you feel that there are any individuals who publicly represent us, financially represent us in a way, who their rhetoric or their actions are spoiling it for the Black race, or they're making us look bad? And we're going to include their accolades. We're going to include their gifts, their talents. We're going to include everything, especially in this month. Of 2019, February 2019, we've had like literally every other day, every couple days, every week, something new with people who in their own right were in some type of high esteem. Mm-hmm. But also looking back in history, have we ever had people like that who we put on a pedestal, and now we're saying that, okay, they didn't messed up, or they did something we don't like, or they're living a lifestyle that we might not agree. Mm-hmm. Do they mess it up for everybody? You know, how do you guys feel about that? I'm gonna start with you, Zach. I'm gonna start with you.
Well, I mean, we got a lot. We got a lot. Let me start with Jussie Smollett. You know, he's the newest.
Yeah, Jussie Smollett.
Jussie Smollett. He's the newest in this band of, you know, musketeers. You know, cool musketeers, I would say. But yeah, Jussie Smollett and his situation. I don't really know what to think about that. You know what I'm saying? Because I've heard a lot of different reports. You know, and correct me if I'm wrong. The latest I've heard is that the whole reason he staged that whole thing was first of all, he said it was something to do first that he got a letter, somebody hate text, and then he said first of all that he staged it because he wasn't getting enough publicity from the hate text and then the hate mail, I should say, and then once again we come back new investigations. Oh, he was the one who actually wrote the hate mail, and then the reason he did it was because like for publicity, and you know what I'm saying. So for me, like I don't really know where to start with it. You know, I don't know what to think about it, and I feel like he really did the black race wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I saw someone say, especially in Chicago where they're very liberal out there. I never been, but I'm just saying, I'm just, you know, going off of what I've read, and for me, as I said, I don't really know what to think about it. I mean, if you guys could put your 2 cents in.
Throwing it back to me.
Yeah.
I literally just kept it at, bro, your story don't sound
good.
And that's just straight street.
Yeah.
Like, I was just listening like, yeah, nah, dog. Like, I'm not saying that those things don't happen to those people in that community, in the LGBT community. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm not saying him being a black man, being possibly attacked, famous or not. You know, LeBron said something. He said, it's funny how you can get to this level and they'll still spray paint nigga on your fence in Brentwood. So I'm not saying things don't happen. But just on the street code level, just listening to the story, dog. Like, and I'm not saying that he possibly didn't get attacked. I'm not saying that it possibly didn't happen, but I got a little upset when the Noose and the Bleach, especially the Noose, I'm like, Black Lives Matters, it's like in Ferguson, this has been happening. It's not just a couple years, 20, 30, 40 years. People are still getting hung, and they're covering up. And so that brought different emotions out of me. Like, if for whatever reason, whether his mental illness, whether he wanted a little bit more money, a publicity, somebody paid him to do it, I don't know. I don't know this man's truth. I know for a fact that they got them charges fast, too. I'm like, man, it don't take y'all no time to get us. And we see that when we got an owner of a team and who just won, and you getting caught up in prostitution, and you walking like, and they got you on some false reports. That's like a ticket to me.
Shout out to Florida.
So me, in a sense, you know how they go, huh? Me in my mind, I'm just like, I want to have your back. I'm like, but you at least, like, I don't know how to have his back because the lie just didn't make any sense. Like, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, we brothers, and you didn't have your brother back in the lie. Like, bro, I got you. Like, don't even trip. I just didn't know what to say with this one, you know. And it's just funny how Chicago, they went and got them boys, and R. Kelly too. They got them fast. They wasn't playing no games. When this dude's out here, literally
Harvey Weinstein running up and down, getting giddy.
I'm like, so that's how I feel. And as far as the spoiling the bad apple, I've always said that one person doesn't represent the entire race, because we all fall short in our own way. We all, you know, Jesse did something that Ayanna Vezenshi said. He lied. And most of us have lied, whether it's publicity,
allegedly. Cover yourself.
Allegedly. Sorry, let me say this, because I ain't got enough money. Y'all not about to come get me. He allegedly lied to the police, and now there's new information saying that he didn't pay. It's just a lot of stuff going on. That's not my field. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just more so like you know, I'm gonna have your back. Just, you know, let us know that you made it up if you did. But if you didn't, that's another conversation. That's why we have trials, and he is innocent until proven guilty by the court of law. So that's my spill on it.
Straight.
Okay.
I will definitely go last on this
one. All right, let me say this. Number one, as it pertains to black people, sure, we can say that one black man does not represent all, but that does not pertain to reality, because as it pertains to one black man doing one thing, it reflects on all of us. Yeah. Everybody else in every culture, every group, every nationality, etc., they can do a million different things. White people can murder children every single day, and they don't say white people are crazy, even though they've been doing it since the beginning of their existence. We won't go there. But when it comes to a black man, one black man can shoot a dog, and they say black people are dog killers. That is exactly how we are generalized completely. Seriously. So Jussie Smollett, the only difference is he set himself back on our end for the pain that we have for our history and what we have gone through as a people. Now that falls on us. So now me personally, I looked at everything and I didn't speak on it yet because I don't talk unless it is actual facts. Right. The way we are taught in the Nation of Islam is we wait until the actual facts come out and then we go to the root and see how this system can benefit from it first. That's how we look at it. So I looked at it, I said it's very interesting. Okay, you're not getting paid enough money. You're getting paid between $62,000 to $65,000 per episode, which it's going to give you up to $1.2 to $1.5 million at the end of the year. Okay, that's pretty decent for a young black man to make. I don't know how many of y'all would have a problem making $62,000 per every episode.
To do what I love to do?
Yeah, do what you love to do. Yeah, acting. And, okay, cool.
All right, so a BMW tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know if he has like 30 children or if he got a bunch of
he ain't got no kids. We know that.
I don't know what it is, but he's like, that's not enough money. I don't understand that. Okay, and then you pay 2 Nigerian brothers, supposedly, allegedly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you use the history of Nigerians, supposedly, for, playing on the fact of some people saying they're criminals, and so, they would come after me. Okay, that's what a lot of people are saying. So they're like, okay, Nigerians, they would do that. I'm like, okay, see, you playing and you're destroying the fact that we are progressing as a people slowly but surely, and you use the pain and you add a noose onto it.
That was tough.
Brother, I'm like, listen here. Let me holler at you, Jussie, because I know you light skinned. Okay. I don't know if that played a role either. But for a person to feel as though that is okay, just the feeling that, maybe I can do this it's not only wrong, but it's insulting. And it's not only insulting for us as a people, it's insulting for every other group of people who have gone through atrocities like that, because what would they do to their people if they were to play on that pain? You would never see a Jewish person come out and play something like that. You would never see an Italian person come out and play something like that. No. You would never see a Chinese person come out and play something like that. Their own people would deal with them in a way that we may not agree with.
True.
Yeah.
But what do? We justify it. And he did it for black people and supposedly the LGBT. So you put hate crimes on both. But this ultimately was a political move. That's just something I got to say, to push a bill dealing with the LGBT.
Hey, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Was that, and it was also to help to push with Kamala Harris's campaign, because they stood with each other early in their campaign run as well. And there's a lot that I got to say about Sister Kamala Harris, not for her as an individual, but what this government is doing to utilize her as a black woman at this time to push their agenda, because she is not for us as a people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, fully.
I agree with the last statement about Kamala Harris. We can go there too, because I'm not a big fan.
I don't like nobody.
Nobody. Who should be president? Nobody, because we should abolish the nation state. But that's a whole other conversation for a different state. For a different day. Excuse me. But
you got your notes?
I do. Oh yeah. Right. We in here. Yes. This idea of linked fate that you're talking about, right, is very, very real. Now, this is where I differ, and y'all just gonna have to fight me on this one, is that I want us as a people to provide Jussie with some grace. And this is why I say this, right? Just today, the FBI says Chicago Police Department overreacted. What y'all gonna do with that, black folk? What was amazing to me is we know the history of the Chicago Police Department. We know this ain't nothing new. We know the history. We know Laquan McDonald, right? We know what happened with that situation. We know for a fact that Chicago Police Department has planted drugs on black folk. We know that Chicago Police Department has done all types of things like to drum up these shootings in the city, right? And what blew my mind as a black person, first of all, was the black chief who got himself on TV and made this spectacle. Right? Now, it's being like a social scientist. I'm like you. I need the evidence, right? So when I'm writing a book, when I'm writing an article, in the process of writing a book and trying to get there,
facts.
Where is the evidence? So here is this check that was written, right? That was allegedly made out to them. But then what comes out in the wash is that on top of in the memo line for the check, these brothers were hired to train Jesse for a video shoot that he was supposed to do, and the check was written long ago. Before this attack went down, right? And now the FBI is going in and doing these investigations. But as a people, right? We weren't willing to provide the grace to say, brother, let's stand with you until we pull. Even if you lie, we will stand with you. And that's what I want to know. Where is the grace? Where is the let's stand with this brother until it comes out on? Because we will stand in our various pulpits. I know my pulpit is a classroom, right? And what I try to provide for my students, even in the moment in which they are completely wrong, like wrong as wrong can get, right? Like not you, right? About as wrong as a right shoe on a left foot. Right. As I try to provide grace. And what I am saying is in particularly like from being someone who is of the LGBT like community, it happens to be black, right? Is what I find is that when it comes down to black women or black queer folk, what we're missing is grace. And not even just like black queer folk and just with black folk in general, how we deal with one another. Grace. That's all I'm asking for. And why is it that we were so willing to jump out and say, yes, Chicago Police Department, you got that right. But now the FBI saying, hold up, player. So what do we do with that? Right? Now, there's the Jesse side of that. I'm getting to jump back on my Obama train because nobody went down Obama's throat when he came to Morehouse College in 2013 when all of us was sitting out in the rain and told us we won nothing.
He said
to stop making excuses.
That's a fact.
This was his speech, right? Aquila just sent me an article today. Here we go with my brother's keeper again, right? And he is scalding black boys. But no one is saying, what should we do about the Obama situation? So when it comes to certain folks like Obama, evidently the solution is, well, you have a moral issue. When the issues are structural, when the issues are institutional. And what does that mean, right? For Jesse to be caught up in the locks within the lock of that, and hopefully eventually we can also get to R. Kelly, because someone who is abolitionist in my approach, what I understand and what I wholeheartedly believe is that jail and cages are for no one. So then what does what does forgiveness look like? What does restoration look like? What does justice then look like? But also, jail isn't the answer because R. Kelly's just a result, right? We're dealing with laws and structural compositions that allow for the abuse of women, specifically black women, gender-based violence to take place. And until you abolish and challenge those laws, you will always have a R. Kelly. You will always have a Harvey Weinstein who got away with it, if you ask me. Right. You will always have those things until we're so busy dealing with the fruit. You really have to get at the root of those things. And I'm going to shut up on that point because I don't want to take up.
No.
So I'm sorry.
I think we can go straight. I feel like we can just go on and segue because they both was in Chicago. And it's both a institution. And I think that's where the place I'm in now is now being a Christian and being a minister, a preacher of the gospel.
Come on.
I have to get used to that because Jesus speaks on it's the fruit that you got to show me your fruit. And so with R. Kelly, I'm like, bro, you've been doing this for a long time, right? And I'm gonna keep it real. I was still listening to his music. Matter of fact, Step in the Name of Love came on the other day, and I literally started like, okay, I started doing my thing after all these allegations. I'm gonna just keep it real honest, and I'm Christian, love Jesus and all that, right?
Do.
So I'm now getting to a place like, especially with R. Kelly, after watching the documentary and all these things and facts, whether he was in the video or not. I was too young when the video came out, and when I actually saw a little bit of the tape at 18 in a barbershop, I was like, okay, yeah, that's you, Kels, but whatever, right? I'm now at a place now, just send everybody to jail. Like that, and that's why I kept it at, because I don't really know. I'm still learning the institution, Professor
you about to get got.
You
about to get got.
I'm talking about on the documentary. I'm talking about on the documentary. That was my first initial reaction.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. Nah, y'all about to, whoa.
You got to catch yourself.
No, listen,
I was about to sit under the table. I was like, I am not.
When I first saw the documentary, as a parent, let me slow down. I'm the only parent up here. As a parent, I'm watching like I can't watch I only watched like 2 episodes. People watching the whole thing. You don't need to watch the whole thing. The one episode is good enough for me. And I was like, just send everybody, because everybody knew. But that was apparent in me to imagine if Kyra or Mara was 16, 15, allegedly being at this man's house, and just that whole thing. Now I'm taking time to listen to perspectives. If he did do it, proven guilty, then he should be gone. But like Professor Simpson said, I'm still on. Professor Antoine
is fine.
Antoine said, now the institution of the racist system and the root of it with the laws, and also the attack against the black woman, and how it just is now opening my eyes. So I can't just immediately start saying things. I'm taking pages on my brother Reza's book. Like, we need to wait till facts come out, and that's where I'm at. So now I'm getting a habit to not speaking out of emotion and speaking because I'm upset. Because as a father, I'm ready. Like, what you mean? Nah, bro, I'm coming in. We shooting everybody in the house. I'm going to jail. Yes, Your Honor, I did it. That's where I was at. But now I took the time and learned and listened, following him on Instagram, listening to his lectures, and just taking the time to shut up and listen to a perspective and automatically get into the root of it. Because what's, like he said, you said it perfectly. Until laws and things change and all this type of stuff, there will always be a R. Kelly or Harvey Weinstein, even though he got away with it. And so that's where I'm at with that. That's how I feel.
So, I mean, to touch on the R. Kelly thing, in my eyes, the black community, and you kind of spoke on this with the Grace, I feel like we're victims of reaction. Not even victims, like we just in that cycle where we don't take action, we just on reaction, you know?
Okay.
I would say that, like, once anything comes out in the media, right? I remember Chris Brown the other day. Chris Brown was allegedly accused of rape. Everybody down Chris Brown throat.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? I say, Chris Brown don't got to rape nobody. You know what I'm saying? Rape.
I surely doubt that.
You know what I'm saying? And that's no disrespect to anybody who's victims of rape. You know, that's a very touchy subject. But I'm saying, like, we just in this mindset where, as you said, we don't give our brothers no grace. You know what I'm saying? We don't give our brothers no period to be like, all right, you know what? We behind you. And you mentioned the Jewish community. You mentioned the Chinese community. Those communities do that. You know, that's a
ride or die.
Ride or die. Those communities do that. That's the difference between the black community and any other community. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of differences. You know what I'm saying? I was just having a discussion with my brother Kobe. We talking about the Jewish community, like, and this is, you know, I'm kind of segueing. I'm gonna get back into the arcade thing, but just community. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need as black people, because we talking about boycotting Gucci. We talking about boycotting Gucci. How much black people buy Gucci? How many black people can afford to buy Gucci? But everybody, oh no, we not buying no more Gucci because it look cool. You know what I'm saying? But if y'all really want to boycott these European systems or these European businesses or enterprises, H&M, whatever, because after that H&M incident, everybody back in H&M. A week passed, and that's kind of like the social media mindset. But like, what I'm trying to say is, if you want to boycott these things, follow the Europe, how they do it. Follow the Jews. The Jews boycott black businesses all day because they don't buy outside of the Jewish community.
Correct.
The dollar don't last an hour in the black community. The dollar lasts 27 days in the Jewish community.
Correct.
In the Chinese community, they all live together. They don't make. You can't come in and touch nobody. You know what I'm saying? Black women going to the nail salon and doing their nails. I have a friend the other day. She said she never got kicked out. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I seen the videos. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't see no black man going in there and raising hell.
Right.
Chinese man, they come in with them shits. You know what I'm saying? They don't play. But like us as a community, like collectively, we don't think like that. It's every man for himself. You know what I'm saying? Every nigga for himself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We don't have. And once again, we're going back to that grace. We don't give, or just because of that mindset, we so disconnected. We so, oh, you know, I don't want to be black. You know what I'm saying? In Jamaica, we have this thing where it's like, we're not buying it if it's from Jamaica. It has to be foreign. So it's from the U.S. Oh yeah, it's cool now. We don't want no Jamaican goods.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's changing. It's changing with the culture, just like we evolving out here in the U.S. as well. But it's just like that's the mindset. Like if it's foreign, it's better, and that's a black mindset, and that comes from slavery. We all know that. You know what I'm saying? That because black was no good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, going back to the R. Kelly thing, it's like I saw you talk about this the other day on your Instagram. R. Kelly's not the. He didn't create pedophilia.
No.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't create. That's a European thing. You know what I'm saying? But R. Kelly's now the face of pedophilia, a black man's face, right? You know what I'm saying? He's the face of that right now. You know what I'm saying? They got Justice Smollett on for these alleged, you know what I'm saying, faking these things. But let's go back in history. How many white women have lied on black men?
Come on, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Is she still free? The lady from Emmett Till?
Yes, she's
still ain't
still
arrested her, huh?
Carolyn Bryant
They didn't even touch her.
No. To this
She
day.
confessed.
After
to this
she
day.
admitted, yes. Oh, let's go.
Okay.
How many white people are still free? You know, I just saw a girl. Oh, there was, I forget the name, but I don't know if you remember this girl who she cried rape on these two football players, and they're not.
Yes.
You saw that, right? They their whole dreams, their whole life. I couldn't
Destroyed. Take them
I
away.
couldn't. I can't even imagine that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm an artist. Somebody do that, and my whole career is done, and then they come out and say, "Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry." Oh, she didn't even say she was sorry. She
Okay.
was saying, "Oh yeah, it was just a lie."
Okay.
Whatever. I did it because I didn't want my boyfriend to find out that we slept together. Whatever.
Okay. How you feel, brother?
Yeah.
Come on, because I still want you guys to ask some questions of your own. So
Yes,
let's
sir.
make it. Give me a 2 minute remark.
Boy.
You know you fast with the Instagram. So I've seen you. So
Yes, sir. I just said this one. Number one, R. Kelly. Anybody who blames R. Kelly, I understand. If the proof is there, good. Suffer the consequences. Very simple. It's very simple. There's no need to castigate the brother, to castrate him, and there's no need. Just suffer the consequences, brother, because Harvey Weinstein is still out, from my understanding. Or pardon me, he's in, and he's not suffering those consequences. They try to make Bill Cosby the face of it, but they have all these over 6,000 cardinal, bishop, priests from the Catholic Church who have been doing this for years. The Pope recently, I believe 4 days ago, went to the Vatican to set in place different laws and different measures upon how they are going to deal with the Catholic priests, the bishops, and the cardinals, who all have been found to be involved with children. All of them.
That's right.
America has allowed over 200,000 minor marriages to occur within the last 15 years. Adults having marital affairs and being married to children as young as 10. America has allowed over 20,000 foreign minor brides to be brought in from countries like Europe and other countries, Europe and countries within Europe and other countries all over the world. They allowed them to bring their child brides, child husbands, all of these things into the country. America in no way is against pedophilia. So let's make this very clear.
Okay.
America in no way is against it. They have allowed it throughout slavery, and the system of white supremacy is what perpetuates all this. But the moment R. Kelly tried to step out of line is when they said, now we're going to check you, but we've been doing this the whole time. And they do it all the time. But the moment people step out of line, that's when they try to snap at them. And R. Kelly in particularly, they try to use this as a perfect example to switch the image of pedophilia, which came from pederasty, which is a Roman Greco form of what is called man-boy loving, and the founder of NAMBLA, North American Man-Boy Love Association, by the name of David Thorstad, was a member of the Gay Rights Association as well. He is the one that came over here and was pushing that pederasty or loving little boys is okay. And from that point, it was something all throughout this country's culture. We were pushing against it as a people first, but it has infected us through slavery, and it was forced on us from then, and it has been something that has carried on as a generational curse. And R. Kelly was a person who was subjugated to this by his own sister. That's how he started, because his sister did it to him, and his older brother said, well, she did it, no one said anything about it. And the same thing happens with our families all across the country. People don't say anything about it. That is exactly how this has happened, and so it is something that continues. But what do? They blame R. Kelly and make it seem as though he's the father of this, when he himself is a victim who has simply perpetuated what has been put on us as a people. So I want to end that whole R. Kelly thing. But once again, if he has to suffer the consequences, every damn person who was involved needs to suffer them too. He couldn't write checks because he couldn't read. He couldn't book people, but he couldn't fly these girls in because he could not handle how to book things, because once again, he couldn't read or write. He signed over all the rights to virtually all of his music, including I Believe I Can Fly, etc. They took all of his money. So this man was literally a sick individual who was allowed to do this. And the people who were all around him should all suffer the consequences as well. That is what is called equal justice under the law. So that's just that. So there is no excuse for him, but there shouldn't be be an excuse for anyone else, including his wife, including all the side women, including all the girls who brought other girls.
Yeah, I say only his daughter is the only one that can.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right.
it. Everybody else.
But it's like, no, let's be fair here. Don't just put it on him. He ain't the only one good, brother. Go accept the consequences. Do your time. You need to do that because people were hurt, but everybody else should as well. Last point, I believe. What was the other subject you brought up really quick? Chicago. There's a place called Holman Square in Chicago, where over 7,000 men were disappeared by the Chicago Police Department. They were being experimented on, tortured, etc., not allowed to call their parents, etc. Chicago is known to kill black folks. Chicago is known for the FBI to infiltrate the Gangster Disciples, and they tried to arrest over 18,000 of them. They ordered over 17,000 hollow point bullets because they said they wanted to kill these men. Chicago has always been against black folks, and the whole Jussie Smollett thing and us not giving him grace. Black people did give him grace. The problem is he manipulated and he took advantage of it. Same thing with Obama. Obama was given total grace. That's why he was able to go so long without really bringing any virtual rights to black people. And once again, the LGBT community, though I don't have anything against, if you want to practice that, that's fine for you. But they have been given more rights in 40 years than we have been given in the last, they've been given more rights in the last 40 years than we've been given in 400.
Agreed.
So if you want to look at that, it's kind of like, okay, why is that allowed? That's because we didn't press Obama. 1, we did not finance him. Number 2, you can't control a candidate if you don't pay for them.
That's true.
So therefore, I can't get mad at him because, damn it, we didn't put up the money to support and to manage his affairs.
That's fact.
Everybody who wants to have a candidate that votes for them or that goes for their agenda, you write an agenda down. You meet with them and say, we have $1 million, Obama. If you will meet all these things, this is $1 million to back your campaign. You sign the contract, and then he will pass the laws for what we want. Did we do that?
No, we didn't.
That's why. So we can't point the finger at Obama entirely. We have to point the finger at us as a people.
Everybody, yeah.
See, so that's just equal justice, and I want to hit all them points so that everybody can say, R. Kelly ain't the only one going to jail. Obama ain't the only one we gave grace to. But damn it, we need to be real about this, and we need to rely on us as a people and stop relying on the same system when we have the power to do something for ourselves.
Any comment?
Yes, just need a quick 120 seconds. Agree, first of all. Yes. Right. It's interesting like to be black and gay and occupy that intersection. Agreed. That's all I'm gonna say on that. But I do want to say this, right? I am down for black people. All black people. And by saying that, at the same time, like, I deeply believe black women. Like with the being of my core, I deeply believe black women. So when black women, say something has went down, I'm like, absolutely, it happened. What's the point that I'm getting at? I'm going back to this grace thing, right? Because I told you I'm abolitionist in my approach. Is then what does the solution look like for the R. Kelly situation? Because we do have sisters that have been wrong. That needs to be addressed. But what does grace look like in this instance, right? And that is what we have to start asking ourselves, the really, really tough questions. Because we have to imagine a liberation and a freedom beyond the context of laws. Because, and I agree with Reza, right? Like, let's wait for this evidence and the facts to come out. But it's someone like, again, who's a social scientist, and I look at law a lot in my work. Law even shapes what a fact is and what evidence is. So that by the time you get to it, there are certain things that are inadmissible in a court that will blow a case wide open or that are withheld, right? So we even have to question, what do we consider to be facts? I consider to be facts when black people speak it. When them people in Ferguson said, this is what's happened to us and we're being tracked down, we need no social science research. They live it every day. When sisters say, this is what's happening to us, sisters have been crying out about R. Kelly, have been waiting for our community to come to, to assist in whatever type of capacity, right? And first of all, last point. We don't even have to go to R. Kelly. This is like one of my nerve points, right? We don't have to go to R. Kelly. We don't have to go to Jesse. We can go right to our homes. Stop talking about R. Kelly and deal with your uncle.
That's real.
Stop talking about R. Kelly and deal with Eddie Long. Stop.
Say it again.
Listen, deal with Eddie Long. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. We act like these issues are this far out. No. The issues are local. They're local. So do not talk to me about, in so many ways, way is, I know, like, as a community, as a people, these are high profile people. We're going to talk about Jesse. We're going to talk about R. Kelly. But don't talk to me about those people if you're not willing to talk to me about your brother who you will not check, who is touching your child. And when your child says something, you will not believe them. Right? Because I don't want to say... There are families that have that uncle that won't address that uncle. That has that aunt that will not address that aunt. So don't talk about R. Kelly if you're not willing to bring it local.
That's right.
It's the point. It's the point that I'm getting to, right? But as an abolitionist like approach, one thing that I struggle with. Okay, let me shut up. Is really, what does the grace look like? What does the accountability look like? Because y'all know already, I'm not down for the whole jails thing, right? I just believe that cage is not where you put humans. And I do believe there's a lot of unresolved hurt.
Absolutely.
To your point.
Absolutely.
How do we repair that? How do we restore our communities? How do we move forward with a love ethic? I love all black people. I don't want anybody left out. I don't want anybody from the nation left out. I don't want anybody from AME, Kojic, LGBT, queer, non-binary. I want all black folks. This is a black love type kind of thing. And if we can organize around blackness and just say all of us black, all of us in this ship together, I think we might be all right.
Absolutely.
That's just my view. I'll be quiet because I know we're coming up on time.
Okay, we got about 6 minutes, so I'm
shout out for the six.
We got 6 minutes. So, you saying what you just said, you guys hit my forte, and so my number one question across the board, especially somebody like me who does, I'm in community organizing.
Yes, you are.
I'm in the trenches, like with kids. You know, I might not be on everybody's flyer or things like that, but I'm seeing a different side of accountability and the effects of our mishandlement, whether it's parenting, whether it's finances, whether it's culture, upbringing, whether I'm on that other side of the track, being a part of the church, and even you holding the church accountable as well. Like I'm 1,000%. So what do we see as black men? How should we take leadership for all these different things that are happening? What can we do? Because we are the lead. We are the pillar. We hold the families down together. We are the representative. We are the spokesperson. And even me being a father, I still want to learn from you guys who are not fathers. You get it? And I still want to be able to, give back to you guys who are fathers. And so I learned in community organizing, each one teach one. I just want to reach out. My whole sole goal is to reach the next man, to say, man, I got your back. It's equivalent to seeing my man trying to find change at the grocery store, liquor store, trying to provide, and it's that simple. But now it's not even just monetary gifts or money. I want to now give you information and knowledge and wisdom, and how we can come together, like you said, black on black everybody. Church, and I'm saying this from the black church, black everybody, because I feel like we need to get to a point of coming back together and taking this system by storm and coming together to hold ourselves accountable, but also deal with ourselves too. If we're going to deal with in love and grace, if we're going to deal with the consequences, therefore, that's how we should be. That us. We shouldn't wait for the system or from some people that has less melanin than we have to deal with us, because all they're going to do is deal with us and throw us back in. Like you said, you get off, you touch a kid, you do some time. If you make it through jail, you come back, and they just throw them right in our communities. We never even know, really. You know what I'm saying? We don't really deal with things in our own way. So my question would be, and we can all go about 2 minutes. I think we got 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So you three can go. I'm gonna start with you, Zach. What does the black man do now? People, what does the black man do now?
So I actually wrote a paper on this. I was speaking to you about it earlier, but we got to start psychologically, bro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because, one, you could look at Kanye West as a great example of mental illness in the black community that doesn't get checked. You know what I'm saying? And I can't say, Kanye did come out and say he's mentally ill, himself. But the thing is, like, we've gone through all of this struggle, you know what I'm saying, coming from slavery, coming up. I don't like start talking about slavery like that. But we coming up from slavery, bro. You know what I'm saying? And we've gone through all of this. Send a soldier to Iraq, what he come back with? PTSD.
Right.
We get put in communities where the only thing on the corner is the liquor store, the gun store, a McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? We talking about health now. And that's why I come back to psychology, my bad, because your mental and physical health are one and the same. You understand me?
Okay.
You're not good physically, you eating bad, you thinking bad thoughts. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. So for me, that from one man gets passed on to the kids, bro, because that's epigenetics, bro. You come up in a household where all your parents do is smoke and all your parents do is... And on the other hand, too, it's perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because you could come up in a household where that's the case and some people don't smoke. Some people, but that's not everybody. The majority of people, what happens is that they come up in these situations, and as I said, epigenetics, we talking about genes too.
Right.
We getting passed down in the genes. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like this laziness or this, I don't want to work, or you know what I'm saying? This dislike of themselves, you know, hatred for one's color, you know what I'm saying? Because we see a lot of men marrying outside of their race, and you know, people don't like themselves, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
go ahead, Reza.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll say this. Number one, the term mental illness was created during the system of eugenics under Francis Galton to justify the murdering and the genocidal killing of black, brown, and original people. So that's number one. Mental illness denotes bacteria. Illness does not exist mentally, but mental problems do. So we have to, one, start communicating these things.
Okay.
Stop being afraid to talk about them. We have to get together in groups of people who we at least trust enough to open up these things, bring it out so that we can start to heal. Number one, do not take the psychotropic drugs, because those drugs are linked to every single type of suicide and homicide, because they are listed on the DEA's list as a Schedule II narcotic, which is the same as crystal meth, methamphetamine, and cocaine. So these drugs are literally illegal drugs. Okay, the same drugs that kill, that's what they're classed as, and that's why they make money off of them. They do not cure anything. I want to make that very clear. The next thing is we have to start setting the example. As black men who have a level of awareness. We understand what's going on. We have a level of responsibility. We know what level of integrity we have. We want it to be black everything. We were black before any sexual orientation. We were black before any religious title. We are this before we are those things. Those are relevant, but they are not more superior than who we are as a people, as you were already saying. So we have to keep that at the forefront, that listen, regardless of all these different things, brothers and sisters, we are a people and we must move together forward as that people. And the last thing is we have to maintain our integrity. We have to stand on integrity. We say black history, that's what we mean. We have to stand on it and say, I am a black man first. I'm going to defend this black woman. I'm going to defend this black man, and I'm going to make sure that my people are given true freedom, justice, and equality, and I'm not going to stop until we gain that and get that forever. That's what I believe we need to do.
You got something?
Real quick, because I know we right on top of time. I don't think that black men should lead. I think we should co-lead in the spirit of Ella Baker, who taught us about participatory democracy. So we should be making decisions together, leading as a group.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right? That's that. I do think we should move forward with a love ethic, right? There should be no punitiveness among us. What does a love ethic look like? What does forgiveness look like? What does grace look like? I do think we need to articulate like what masculinity looks like with black men. We also need to check ourselves, right? And then hold one another accountable.
Okay.
It's that simple, and know how to walk in love with one another. That's it.
Sure.
And I'm gonna end it with this. Love pretty much is how we all connect. I met you, it was love. I met you, it was love. I met you, it was love. We might not always agree. We might not have differences. We might have different opinions. But love, I think, is the way we can wrap up Black History Year every day, 365, every season. And so we're going to wrap this up. Shout out everybody, Young Voices Making Choices. I have my boy Zach Jones, Reza Islam, Antoine Simpkins. We are here. You can follow us on all social media outlets. We're going to follow you. Follow us back. Shout out Young Voices Making Choices. Please follow us on all social media outlets. This is our first, but not our last Black History segment. Thank you so much. We'll tune in next time. Akila Roden. See y'all.
Peace.
Bye.